Hey guys, my name is Brett Zanuski, and I'm a Northeastern University student as well as a semi-professional DFS player. Today I'm going to show you how I use RotoQL to build a FanDuel GPP lineup for the Monday, August 1st slate. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to lock in a pitcher so I know how much I can spend on my bats. So we can see that Strasburg, Salazar, Duffy, and Archer are the top four, but Duffy and Archer are facing each other, which significantly lowers their chances of a win compared to Strasburg and Salazar, which is pretty important on FanDuel. It's worth 12 points. So we're going to go see what Vegas can tell us about this situation. So I'm going to sort by opponent run projections. And we can see that Strasburg is projected to give up less runs than Salazar. So that makes me a little bit more confident. Like 3.52 runs is not that much for Chase Field. It's one of the best hitter parks in the league. So it gives me the confidence that Vegas thinks Strasburg can dominate this lineup. And then I'm going to sort to see which pitchers Vegas thinks are going to give up the most runs. And we can see that Archie Bradley, who's going up against the Nationals with their park boost, is projected to score the most runs. So that would be an interesting stack, but it could also be expensive and could also lead to increased ownership because they're projected to score the most runs. So I'm going to go sort by the game and just look at what their lineup looks like as a whole. So as we can see, the top, they're projected to score all double digits, but they're also kind of expensive and will probably be some of the higher owned players on the slate. But if we start at Rendon, who is still projected to score 11.1, along with Ramos and Clint Robinson, we'll get good correlation with Strasburg because if they score a lot of runs, that will increase the likelihood of him getting a win. So if we go back to the optimizer now, it should have put in Ramos, Robinson, and Rendon, which gives us a nice little mini stack correlation with Strasburg. But then we have a Walker, Granderson, and Rugiano for the second stack that it didn't really put in for us. So that's interesting, but CC Sabathia doesn't, he's not a very good pitcher, but he's not one that I go out of my way to stack against. So I'm going to go back to insights and just see if there's anything that pops off for any hitters. And once again, we're looking at a lot of expensive players till we get down to Ryan Schimpf, who's only 2,700. He's demolishing right-handed pitching, and Jimmy Nelson is also giving up a lot of hits and power to left-handers. So a San Diego stack could be kind of interesting with Schimpf and some of their speed guys at the top because they also he gives up a lot of steals. So I'm going to go back to the optimizer and see what can happen if we can put in a Padres stack. And we're going to go to max gaps as 2 because Schimpf is a little bit farther down in the order than most of the other guys that we want. And we're going to go generate optimized lineups and see what happens. So it gives us Schimpf, Jankowski, and Amarista, who both of whom are very good at stealing as well as left-handed bats, which is Jimmy Nelson's weakness. And they're also very cheap, which would allow us to pay up for one of the other 2 outfield spots along with the cheap punt. So I'm going to go ahead and just lock all of the guys that we have in so it's easier to see who we wanted. So we have 2 outfielders left, and I'm going to go back to insights and just look at what outfielders we like for the top matchups. And right off the bat, you can see that it's kind of mediocre in the mid-range. There's not much that like we could go 2 decent guys with. There's a lot at the top with Harper and people like that. So the most expensive bat we can actually get is Cruz because Harper would put us over the limit for our 4-man stack. I'm going to lock in Cruz and see what the optimizer spits out. And it's going to recommend us to put Jason Hayward with Nelson Cruz. Jason Hayward doesn't really have that much upside as a one person, as a one-off. So I'm going to X him out. And then once again, it gives us Curtis Granderson in the outfield at 2,500, but he's lefty on lefty. So another thing that I like to do is go to advanced options for my one-offs because I really need their upside. So I'm going to go and change that to opposite side only. So that way we'll get lefty on righty so that they have the home run upside that we really need. And will give us Justin Ruggiano, who is a cheap punt at only 2K, allows us to spend up on Nelson Cruz, and there's really nothing else better than him up to the what we can afford. And because we leave salary left over, it's also going to mean that we'll have a very unique lineup and less people will have it, which gives us more upside. And this ends up being one of the lineups that I played tonight, and let's just hope it does well. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask me on Twitter. I'm at Brett_Zanusky, and that's pretty much all. Thank you.